What is going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcoming to the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook Podcast. Here, giving you our first look at Monday's 12-game main slate. James, 12 games on a Monday feels like the most we've had in a little bit. Usually our larger slates we see on like Tuesdays and Fridays, but pretty full slate here to kick off the week.
Yeah, definitely a full slate. Full slate that has, drum roll, please, John, Atlanta Braves in Coors Field. It is going to be an interesting slate. There's a lot of playoff matchups too. If you look around, Arizona, LA, Los Angeles Dodgers, Cincinnati, San Francisco jockeying for playoff position, Milwaukee, Chicago. There's like Houston, Boston continuing their series. There's a lot of important games around Major League Baseball as we head down the stretch of the year. A lot of teams now really just, kiss their seasons goodbye. A lot of teams hoping to sneak into the playoffs. So it's going to be an interesting 12-game slate here on Monday.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, if we go look at some Vegas totals here, the Atlanta Braves Coors game is going to be a one where do you think we see a Braves team implied run total?
7.
Do we think that they get 7? I mean, we've seen like over 6 before.
Yep.
It's the best offense in baseball is going to like they're getting to 7, right?
Yep, they're getting to 7. I mean, they've been 6 against like good pitchers.
Right.
They're just that good. So it's Austin Gomber taking the mound too.
Oh my God, James! We finally hit the threshold with Acuna.
Wait, he's 7K?
He's 7K.
Oh, he's also no longer the odds favorite to win the National League MVP.
I saw that Mookie has surged. Surged forward here, which is kind of wild because like 2 weeks ago, odds are so big into Acuna's favor that DraftKings was actually offering you Ronald Acuna or the field at plus 400. So you could have taken anybody else but Ronald Acuna at plus 400 2 weeks ago. And now, because Mookie Betts continues to just...
Dude, it's insane. It's insane.
He is just unbelievable right now.
Yep.
But, I mean, we have never seen a positional player at 7K.
7K. Nope. This is James Harden at 15K when he was on the Rockets with nobody else.
Mm-hmm. That's wild. That is... I mean... I immediately went to outfield once I realized like the thought connected itself. I'm like the Braves, of course. If there was ever a time for 7K Acuna, it's here, and here we are.
And Olsen's 6'9". I don't know if you saw that. Olsen is 6'9". He's 100 off of. So just starting your lineup there is $14,000. Like, good luck making a viable stack. We should end the show with that, though. We should end the show trying to make a viable Brave stack because I don't know if it can be done. I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, I'll say this, and we'll just jump into pitching now. I don't know if I find myself spending up for any of these starters on this slate.
Sure.
Gossman's at home against Washington. I get is an appealing matchup. Like in theory, because Gossman is an elite pitcher with great strikeout potential, but he hasn't been perfect this year. He's certainly had games where he's been knocked around, and who's been one of the more frustrating teams in baseball to pitch against. So usually it's been the Washington Nationals. Snell's getting St. Louis. That team is kind of waking up a little bit against left-handed pitching. Goldschmidt's getting hot. I think I saw Arenado leave.
He did.
Today's game though, so maybe that's something to watch.
He played Sunday.
So maybe it was Saturday's game. Arenado missed.
He did not play Saturday. He left Friday's game that you saw. Tyler O'Neill was scratched on Sunday.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of then as well. So I mean, like Blake Snell's been fine, but 10-8. It's Gallen against the Dodgers, hard pass.
He's been great, but it's a tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, no one's going to pitch him. I guess you'll get a super contrarian play at 10-5. Abbott against the Giants, like what version of Abbott shows up? We know the Giants have had their struggles against lefties this year.
Right.
$9,800 for him. Like maybe Sale against Houston. No. Maeda against the Guardians. I could be tempted.
Yep.
Could certainly be tempted there. 9,200 is not too bad. You have Bobby Miller here against the Diamondbacks.
Who have woken up in a big way lately.
Right. Christian Javier sucks at 85. Bryce Elder is
in Coors.
John Gray against the Mets, maybe? Like
back to getting shelled. Honestly, the highest owned pitcher on the slate is probably Brian Wu, despite only throwing 65 pitches.
And he threw 40 pitches, 65 pitches the other day. So
yeah,
this is where I'm at. Like I looked at this pitching group here, and I was like, Abbott, Maeda.
Oh, it's Grayson Rodriguez. Yeah, $7,500. Yeah,
but like we this should be the ideal spot for him, right? Strikeout upside, chalky, 75.
He'll be chalky for sure.
I just I don't know. There wasn't like a lot else that I was looking at on this slate that was appealing to me. So I think we can get to Braves because I'm really not paying a pitcher 9,200 or above, right? Like Maeda and Grayson, Wu and Grayson, like could just be the combos that I like run out there for me on this slate,
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out like if there was a guy I'd spend up on it. I guess it would be Gausman just because the matchup. I don't hate the thought of Gallen, just how good he's been, but like he's also running into the best player in baseball right now. Yeah. Colorado has the highest strikeout rate in the month of August against righties, but Elder just doesn't. Strike he just doesn't strike people out.
I mean, it could be a ceiling game though, right? He could get 5Ks. Well, I mean, the guys had 3-3-5, 3-3-2-4 in a 0 strikeout game, a 1 strikeout game against Cleveland. I mean, he just doesn't strike anybody out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, is Grayson Rodriguez the top spend of the slate? Like that's so. Would you play Kyle Harrison? Top 10 prospect in all of baseball. I know he only threw 65 pitches in his debut, but Harrison gets the Reds. The Reds have obviously woken up a little bit this weekend, but like another team that's striking out a boatload against everybody. Would you take a shot on Harrison at 6,500?
Yeah, I think I would give him a peek. I think I'd give him a look against the Reds here.
I think I would too, because he just has a ceiling and it doesn't feel like anybody else does. Right? Like there's nobody else on the entire slate that that I would really go to. Anybody like below Harrison though, I am having a tough time getting to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just kind of like recap here. Again, Gausman's 11-2, Snell, Gallen, Abbott, Sale, Maeda. There's not like a ton there. So if you're gonna take shots on value, Harrison obviously makes some sense. You're not gonna play Greinke, McGill. I mean, like Curry just doesn't pitch, right? Like,
well, no, well the Dodgers start. So the Dodgers start was the rained out was the game that got suspended.
Well, I'm just saying, like, only 81 pitches, 70, 65. I mean, they were building him up a little bit, but
yeah, he clearly. I think that's pretty surefire that they're building him up, right? Sure. As into a starter, like 65, 70, 81, and then that game gets suspended against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But it's
you can always consider pitching against Minnesota because the strikeout potential is there, but they also hung like 15 runs on Saturday. So
yes, they didn't play. I did not play Saturday, and I missed the Minnesota day. Go figure.
Yeah, go figure. So yeah, for me again, I think we're kind of in agreement here. This mid-range, a couple of guys that we're looking at. So being able to spend up on some of these top hitters, like you mentioned, lefty for Olsen, that's fine. You can certainly go there. Mookie Betts is 66 against Gallen. The way he's hitting right now, I'd still be willing to give him a go.
Yep.
People may not be playing the Dodgers because they're against Gallen, so you could one off a Mookie play and see if he stays hitting the way he's hitting. Riley is 63, Bregman is 57 in their spots. Arenado against Snell is 54. Gunnar gets Kopech at 53. Yep. One of the things I sent you, I believe it was either yesterday or Friday, was the stolen base numbers for Noah Syndergaard. But in terms of American League stolen bases allowed, they're all White Sox pitchers. So Jan is not throwing anybody out when they're going, and none of their pitchers hold guys on either. So, Gunnar could be looking to run against Kopech here on the mound if he gets on, or there could be some stolen bases in this game for Baltimore here. So I don't hate him either in this spot.
Yeah, I love Gunnar, and we've talked about it ad nauseum this past week or so. But when he's going good, he's a fun player to roster. Just given how streaky he can be, and with how well he's going right now, there's definitely serious ceiling. And we'll talk about some outfielders for Baltimore too that definitely run. A couple that have run more lately as well. But I gravitated, John, to some San Diego infielders with Waino on the mound. Sure. Machado 53. We've seen a little power surge out of him lately. Ha-Seong Kim. I know he's struggling a little bit, but we know Ha-Seong Kim has big games in the bag. I know it's a righty on the mound, but they're still leading him off. And then Bogarts. Bogarts hasn't been great this year, at least since the start of. He was really good at the beginning of the year, and then it's kind of cooled off. Home runs in 2 of his last 3. I would play any of those infielders going up against Wainwright here.
Sure. Would you play Arcia? He's at 46 now.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's great against lefties. Great. Has he been great lately? No, he hasn't. But he's been fantastic against lefties from the start of the year. So I would never, ever not play Arcia against a lefty, let alone a lefty in Coors. We're talking about like double whammy, right? Sure. Like we're getting as good of a matchup as it gets here.
Yep, I agree with you there. You do obviously have the St. Louis guys, Goldschmidt and Arenado, as you mentioned, Edman as well at 45, someone that hits lefties pretty well. I also mentioned previously that Nolan Gorman, despite being a lefty, actually hits lefties really well. Again, not hitting well, just came back from the IL is also there. So something to at least consider, but contrarian play. No one's going to go lefty against Snell, but Gorman, much better numbers against left-handed pitching this year than righties. The Minnesota guys are going to be in play again. Julian, Polanco, that whole crew certainly can be run out there against Curry.
Yeah, Lewis, grand slam on Sunday as well. I'll throw in a couple more mid-tier guys that I really have interest in. Ezekiel Tovar at home. I keep mentioning him. He homered on Friday. Shout out to him for making me look smart. But he gets Bryce Elder at home. Tristan Casas against Christian Javier. Homered again on Sunday. Casas did. Couldn't end up, 30 home runs in his rookie year. Wouldn't be too shabby, I think.
He's closing in on it for sure. Yep. Since he hit 115 in the month of April, he's hitting 284 and almost a 900 OPS over the last 4 months. Basically, May till today, looking like the stud that everybody thought he was going to be.
Yeah, the April is depressing his stats, unfortunately. And then Brian Hayes, another guy who homered on Saturday, had multi-hit games in 3 of his last 4 going into Sunday. Went over on Sunday, but that's okay. He's been hitting everything in sight of late. So I would go back to the well on Brian Hayes against Zach Greinke.
Sure, I like that call. Any other bottom value? I'm just kind of scrolling around, see if anybody's been priced too down here. It's probably going to end up being at the catcher position, I would imagine.
Where is Wilmer priced at? He's $4,000. He homered again on Saturday, by the way. This has to be the most surprising season of anybody. I'm almost certain there's nobody more surprising than Wilmer Flores this year.
I would agree with you. Martin Maldonado gets the lefty.
He homered on another home run on Sunday. I mean, everyone homered on Sunday. Everyone homered.
Yeah, 17 runs. Right?
Yeah, Yeah. To your point about catcher, Endy Rodriguez gets Greinke here, $3,100.
Jan Gomes, the lefty against Miley here. A matchup
Ooh.
against lefty Miley. Good spot for him.
Jaquan Bay gets Greinke.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to lead off, but he's been kind of bad lately.
Yeah. You can go either Ranger catcher as well, either Garver or Heim here in play. Would you play Danny Jansen against Josiah?
Yeah, Josiah's been giving up some home runs lately too, so I wouldn't shy away from that at all.
Anything else here for you?
The only one I would also mention is Noelvi Marte, who just continues to steal bases like every day. He has 4 stolen bases his first 7 games, hits now in 4 of his last 5. So
I mean, dude was a stud prospect, right?
And he's a stud. And he's a stud.
Bound to.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on over to the outfield then here. Again, Acuna is $7,000. It's going to be very interesting to see what his rostership ends up being. For me, I mean, obviously Mookie aside, I think I go Acuna and I go right back to the Julio Rodriguez well.
Dude,
J-Rod is just making up for lost time here for some, you know?
Yeah, for some. That is, I wonder, like anyone that
some in this room, he's making up for lost time, and it's not me.
Anybody, I wonder, like anyone that spent a lot of money on J-Rod and Trey Turner in seasonal, especially in auctions, must be really happy right now. Anyone that did, that must be really happy.
Probably surging up the standings.
There's a chance for sure. Yeah, J-Rod's been silly good. Another home run. I feel like when he gets out is more disappointing than when he does it. Like more surprising at this rate.
Yeah.
I was just looking, John, just to get full context on what the Braves outfield pricing is. So Acuna's $7K.
Mm-hmm.
Harris is $53. Ozuna is $51, and that's probably too cheap. How highly rostered will a $3,500 Kevin Pillar be? Will he be the most rostered Brave of them all at $3,500?
He might. I mean, that's a way to get that exposure, right?
He's their only. He is the only position player
under 4K.
Under 4K. Yep, he's the only position player under 4K.
That's crazy. Trying to look here. We've talked about it a few times where Chris Sale. So Sale gave up a home run to Maldonado in that last start. I was wondering who. I knew Sale gave up a home run to somebody. I wasn't sure who it was. I thought it could have been Kyle Tucker because we've talked about Tucker's numbers against lefties this year are pretty goated, even though he is a lefty. And Sale just really hasn't been all that good in general. So I wouldn't probably fade Tucker here. I think I'd still have some exposure there. And then, I mean, Juan Soto against Wainwright, got to enjoy that spot.
Yeah, Juan Soto against Wainwright is a great one. Tucker and where's Jordan? Jordan's 61. I mean, I would obviously just take the savings to go to Tucker, but like if you're stacking Houston, I think you can get away with both. How about just like Corbin Carroll? Just after we called him out for the shoulder thing, he's just full. Dude, he's just full, but like he's just back.
Yeah, like which is great because like. You know, somebody in this room here probably has him on like their fantasy team and is, rising up the standings and, on the back of a Corbin Carroll explosion here. So,
yeah, but actually maybe multiple people in multiple leagues have Corbin Carroll. One in an industry league and one maybe in,
possible. Possible. It's very possible. All right. 5K range here. I'm still okay playing Ozuna. I know it seems ridiculous at 5,100, but he's saying 515 over the last 10. And like, he's probably on somebody's fantasy team that is like rocketing up the standings right now, on the back of some elite performances here. Mullins against Kopech again. They're not holding anybody on in Chicago. So said Mo, again, I know he's only got 1 stolen base in his last 10 games. But he does have 15 on the year. This could be a multi-stolen base game for him if he finds his way onto the base paths here. So I do have a little interest there. There's maybe no hotter hitter right now than Adam Duvall. Got 5 homers in his last 7 games.
He's been insane. Yeah. This is how he started the year before the injury. This is exactly how he started the year, and then the injury happened, and took him a little while to get back to it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Javier obviously trash. You have Chas McCormick here at $4,800.
Didn't Duvall hit 40 home runs in a year? I know he has a couple 30 home run seasons. He might have had a 40 home run season.
I'll see what his high was. I think it was that Braves year, right?
I thought it was the Cincinnati. I thought it was a Cincinnati year. Just
I will tell you right now. He hit 38 in 2021. It was a Atlanta split season with Cincinnati, maybe, or was that what year was his 2021?
I think that was because they won the World Series in 22. I believe.
No, that was the World Series year for him. I just don't know what other team he played for that year. He got traded.
For the 21, they won the World.
Miami. Yeah, okay. Miami. So he was with Miami. He hit 22. Got traded to Atlanta and hit 16 more to close out the year. 16 homers in 55 games. His high with Cincy, he had back-to-back years of 33 and 31.
Okay.
So, but 38 just a couple of years ago would probably be on that pace this year.
Yeah, probably.
He didn't miss all those games.
Probably.
But again, Javier's been bad, and the power lately for Duvall is pretty impressive. You mentioned, Yoshida's here. Nolan Jones against Elder at 46. Alex Verdugo led off 3 straight games with a home run for Boston. That streak ended. That streak ended on Sunday, but 3 straight games with a home run. So he's obviously heating up at $4,500 against Javier, a spot to target. I'd go after Tyon here. I didn't mention Yelich, but I think Frelick and Yelich could be interesting. Tyon at home has been kind of bad.
Yeah, you've said that home thing for a little bit now.
Yeah.
Tyon had been pitching really well before that last start. He got a little lit up. So yeah, I could get back to that. I'd go to the Tyon, or attack Tyon rather.
Sure. Charlie Blackmon, 4,500, could probably get there. Teoscar's been hitting everybody.
Dude, another guy. Yeah. I mean, this is why Seattle's tied for first. They're literally, I don't know, depending on their Sunday result, I don't know if they end up winning that game. They had a lead, but they were tied for first going into Sunday's game.
I mean, we mentioned J-Rod. Teoscar's hitting 340. Cal Raleigh's hitting 370 with 5 homers. Did we say Josh Rojas' name at all here?
No, but Josh Rojas is also.
Josh Rojas is hitting 366 with 1,000 OPS, 3 homers, and 3 stolen bases in his last 10. I mean, the Seattle offense, everybody is clicking here.
Yep.
So, Teoscar is pretty cheap, actually, where he's at. I think, did Marlowe homer today, too? Let's see. Marlowe, yeah, he homered today. One hit, one at bat. Pinch-Shooty. Yesterday he homered. So yeah, just power everywhere. I do like MJ Melendez. We talk lefties against Oviedo a lot. Melendez is 34.
Sure.
Pilar will obviously be the chalk of that group here. You have Seiya against a lefty and Wade Miley.
Seiya's been amazing. Yeah. I wrote him up in the value vault on Sunday, and he was just like, yeah, let me just have another 2-hit game with 2 walks and 20 fantasy points. He's been incredible lately.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 straight 2-hit games. He's crazy.
I think 450 over his last 10 games or so.
Yeah. Kepler, another guy just on fire, 371, 1149. Like you can play the Acuna Olsen because there's just so many hot hitters down here in the value range. I think it's doable. We're not spending all the way up at pitching, and there's plenty of value to get there. Mentioned Weiler Abreu. If he finds his way into the lineup, which he certainly could here again, he had a really good season, made his debut against Houston last week, had 2 games, had the 4-hit game with the homer, obviously to close it out. Weiler Abreu's $2,900 here, so a lot of good value on this slate. Anybody else for you?
Alec Thomas, he's still hitting 300 over his last 10 games. He's 2,600. Sure. He's been pretty good. I'll just give Michael Taylor a shout because Michael Taylor's hitting so many home runs lately. Not that I think that I know it's been mostly against lefties, but 2,400 for Michael Taylor. He has 4 home runs in his last 6 games. Hits in 7 of his last 8 overall. Surprise, surprise. Michael Taylor suddenly with 19 home runs and 12 stolen bases on the year, just out of the cloud. So I don't dislike $2,400 for Michael Taylor at all.
Sure, I agree with you 100% there. All right, let's build a line here, man. I think we agreed we want Grayson in this lineup.
Yep.
And then were we going Maeda? Were we going Woo? Where did we want to touch here?
I don't know. I really don't know.
I feel like Maeda feels pretty safe.
I do too, but do you think I have the 4 plugged. So if we started Maeda, Grayson, Olsen, Acuna, we have $3,200 to play for the rest of our lineup. If that's how we
What if we did Riley over Olsen? Save a couple of $100.
Which is fine because Riley's been such a lefty masher to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Probably have to. Do you think we have to play Kevin Pillar in that equation?
Or no? Probably, because we need. I mean, he's 35.
We don't even have 35.
What's our punt catcher here? Do we just play Maldonado? Do we give it a go? Give it a whirl? If not, Gabe Moreno's there against Bobby Miller.
Dude, I was so mad when they didn't play Moreno the other day after he went like scorching earth hot for the last 2 weeks. We could punt Maldonado. Again, he's a cheap home run against lefties. We've said that all year, right? It's literally been a thing for him.
If you get to a 0, it's probably okay because we need to figure out the money. So,
eek, this is
Mason Wynn at shortstop value.
If we did play Woo, we'd have 3,800 essentially a player, by the way. Just for context, if that's how we want it to go.
Sure. I mean, listen, I like Woo. Woo looked good, dude. They just pulled him because of pitch count. So I'm okay going there. Like you said, 38, a little bit better. Shortstop. You still want to just give Wynn a go, or do you think he just gets knocked out by
Well, I was thinking we could at least punt with like we could punt with Jaywan Bay or Michael Massey. Both guys hit their have the split advantage here.
Yeah, I like Bay. I think he's trash. 4,100 for first, short, and outfielder. Do you see what do we do for Verdugo? It's 45. And what was Casas here? 44. That gives us a $3,400 shortstop.
34.
Pablo Reyes
is probably Pablo Reyes. Wait, what about what position is Rojas a third baseman only now? He's second base. We can actually play Josh Rojas at second over Bay if we wanted to.
Yeah, let's do that. I like that a lot, actually.
I know it knocks us down a little bit, but
29. We could do Weiler over Verdugo and just hope he plays. Or you mentioned there was Alec Thomas right down here.
Alec Thomas. You talked about Melendez.
We have 3,700 too. Where was Teoscar?
Teoscar.
31.
Wait, Teoscar's 33?
Oh, 43.
No.
43. That gives us a Rojas, Teoscar, and then we can go right down to kind of back to where we were.
Casey Schmidt homered on Sunday.
Caballero, 2,600. Is he even playing anymore?
Not with how Rojas has been.
All right, let's maybe get off Teoscar then. 37. We have listed off a whole bunch of outfielders that we liked here.
MJ?
Yeah, MJ works. MJ. Would you rather go Marlowe or MJ? Or just Seiya at 36?
Yeah, let's do Seiya. And then we have 3,800 for a short.
Yeah, 38 for short. Still probably Pablo Reyes here, right?
Still probably Pablo Reyes, yep.
Unless we think Mateo can find a way to get on against Kopech.
I don't even know if he can. I'm not too sold on that.
All right. Well, that's an example lineup that we got built for everybody here. Grayson Rodriguez, Woo, Maldonado, Casas, Rojas, Riley, Reyes, Acuna, Pilar, and Seiya Suzuki here trying to get us that exposure to Coors Field with the $7,000 Ronald Acuna. James and I will be back live 5 o'clock Eastern.